Hello and welcome to Newborough Links for the first edition of Golf in a Gabber. We're delighted to welcome today to this exciting new series of golf chats. We welcome Kirstie Langan from PDI along to Newborough Links today. To welcome Kirstie.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward very much to having a couple of holes with you and having some good chat as we do.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. And it is, as you say, an absolutely beautiful day here at Newborough. And as you said, I'm Kirstie Langan. I'm Global Business Development Director from PDI and golf enthusiast, trying my best to improve. Lots of work to do.
Yeah, as we all are, yeah.
But golf is such a lovely part of my life, so I'm really excited to be here today.
Okay, well, we're both excited, so why not? Let's hit the first tee and give it a go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So how long have you been at Newborough?
I've only been here less than a year. I started last April.
Oh, wow.
But I was, for a long time, I was the head pro up at Cruden Bay. You know, just 10 minutes
so
up the road.
my mum was a member at Cruden Bay for about a million years.
Okay, I must know her then. Who's your mum?
Karen Ellington.
Oh yes, I know Karen, yes.
Really?
Yes, I remember Karen, yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she always, she had a membership there for a very long time. The mum keeps saying that she's going to take me up there.
I worked here for 20 years.
Wow,
Nice
it is.
place.
It's such a special place. And the clubhouse there, the view.
Cruden Bay and Newborough clubhouse, our clubhouse here, I think the two of them have got the two best views pretty much of any golf course you'll ever visit.
I know.
Just have
so
the whole
lucky.
panorama, the whole linksy panorama out in front of you.
Oh, it's the best.
It's beautiful.
And
Well, here we are approaching
Here we are.
the tee. Always good to get a few swings and just loosen up the golfing muscles first of all. Nice and limb, especially when it is a little bit in the colder side over the winter, just to have a few swings and get the muscles warmed up.
right.
So tell us a wee bit about yourself, Kirstie, and the role you play in the energy sector in the northeast.
So I have worked in the energy business fairly consistently for 20 years now.
Yeah,
Over 20 years, yeah. And I'm very passionate about what we do in the energy business, and particularly in this part of the world, what it means in the global stage.
Yeah.
And to be part of the Scottish energy sector is something we should all be incredibly proud of, particularly now when we're facing the energy transition. Biggest challenge of our age. And we're here right in the middle of it, trying to figure it out. In terms of myself, my career journey, I worked offshore for many years. I studied production technology.
Okay.
I worked on well intervention projects, mainly on diving vessels in the North Sea, and I loved it. Came on shore, went into technical sales and more commercial roles, and I've been focused on business growth, particularly in engineering consultancy businesses for the last few years, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, tremendous, yeah. So you're on a golf course which has predominantly been a kind of a male-dominated environment. And you were on an oil rig, which I presume is even more so, yeah. How have you managed to cope with these kind of situations, and how do you find it on golf now? Have you been welcomed into golf once you've started playing, or how do you find the game?
Oh, it's such a good question. So, and I'd never actually thought of it in terms of the offshore environment and the golf course, but you're absolutely right. So when I was offshore, I was very much in the minority. It was a long time ago, so I was often the only woman with 139 male colleagues, and I invariably found it a really positive experience working offshore, and I felt safe and welcome and supported the vast majority of the time. But for whatever reason, I felt intimidated by the golf course for so many years.
That's interesting.
Not so much a female golfer, but as a new golfer. A golfer who's got a lot to learn. I was worried about holding people up on the course, about looking silly, about just not really fitting in the golf world, because I had this idea of what it would be like, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I felt so welcomed by the golf community, and I play with a lot of excellent, very talented golfers who always make me feel welcome and at ease.
No, it's great to hear that.
And all of that.
It's great to hear that, yeah. It's not always been that case, but it's great to hear that things are changing. And I think up until recently it was under 10% of golfers were ladies, and now we're up to maybe 12, 13, 14%, so it's still a minority, but it's great to see that the numbers are increasing all the time, and when ladies do take up the game, and it is difficult, it is intimidating, you are self-conscious, everybody is to begin with, but it's great that the welcome mat has been kind of shown for you there.
Absolutely, and wherever I've gone, I've never had one negative experience related to either my gender or my ability or anything like that. But I do still speak to a lot of women who say that they would like to take golf up, but they're a little bit nervous, or they're not sure, or they don't think they're going to be good, and all of that. So I really hope that more women will take the plunge this year.
I certainly hope so. It's something I think that most golf pros are passionate about as well. I've been holding what I call get into golf classes for a number of years now, and it is just ladies beginning the game. Women find it very difficult, I think, to knock on the golf club's door as an individual, but they'll come with their friends or 2 or 3 friends and come as a group. So teaching ladies as beginners in a small group situation is an awful lot more comfortable for everybody. So do you run those
classes now here?
We run them from any time from now, usually just for the start of the season, springtime. We'll have typically either a 6-week or an 8-week session, and at the end of that 6-week introductory session, the ladies are at a stage that they can then feel comfortable going onto the golf course and playing themselves. Just the things that you mentioned about feeling a wee bit intimidated. Where do you stand? Where do you walk? What do you say? Should I be over here? Just the do's and don'ts, things that as a non-golfer you just don't know.
So true. And when I think back to even a year ago, this sounds ridiculous now, I hadn't thought about this for a while, but I was sitting there thinking, which number is what, which club does what, and all of these strange expressions. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to make a total fool of myself. And very quickly, you learn the basics and the etiquette and what you need to do to just get moving.
That's right, just get out and do it. And there's always a perception from outside the game that everybody who plays the game is an expert. But you very, very quickly find out that that's not the case. Everybody's just at the same stage, everybody's learning, everybody's hit the bad shots and the occasional good shots.
And even the experts all have different opinions.
Absolutely, yeah. We're all just golfers. We're all just golfers looking for that elusive answer.
The ladies' group sessions you were talking about. Something I find very difficult is timings. So I have 3 young children and a full-time job. So sometimes I find it really difficult getting to sessions. And I think that's always something that's very helpful is when group sessions and golf clubs consider the schedules of the people they're trying to attract. So I don't know if that might be worth something looking at with the ladies.
No, it's certainly something that we vary about. Sometimes it can be the evenings, but that can be around about meal times or getting kids away to different activities after school or whatever. Or Saturday mornings, Sunday afternoons, we'll kind of do anything. We would organise a session here at the times it suited the ladies. Because we want more and more ladies to play golf.
Excellent.
That's the bottom line. So. Right, shall we go play golf?
Yes, I think we should.
Let's go. So we're playing up the hill. You can see the flag right on the horizon.
Yep.
So the best idea is, obviously this is the trouble here, I want to just go a wee bit right if anything, and then just work our way up the hill. Yeah, I'll take that one for the first shot.
Quite similar to mine, I thought.
Very similar.
Yeah, I think we're going to be right beside each other there. So have you got any observations yet that you can tell me?
Yeah, but we'll not rush into that.
You want to keep me in a good place a bit longer in my cheery world.
So we have a lot of corporate members here at the golf club, Kirstie. And obviously a lot of business traditionally is done in the golf course. Have you find that out yourself through your own business? Invitations to golf events? And
I do get a lot of lovely golf events, invites, through work.
Yeah.
But more than that, I find that it's really just a lovely place to get out and speak to clients, to colleagues, to suppliers, just more generally. It's such a healthy and lovely thing to be able to do rather than sitting in a meeting room every single time.
Yeah.
Away from technology, away from everything, and actually having really high quality discussion is so healthy, where you're not just rushing to the next meeting, you're actually having the discussion you need to have. So you're focusing on a shot, and then you're having a walk and really getting down to brass tacks. And I found that, there's been some great discussions and meetings I've had on golf courses.
It's more than just chasing the white ball around the golf course, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think I'm going to go for my 7 or my 8. What do you think?
Do you like your 7?
I like my 7.
We'll go with the 7 then,
Unless it's a terrible shot, in which case we'll blame the 7. I hear so many different things about feet. So when I'm playing with my 7, do I want the ball in the middle?
More or less, a little bit closer to your left heel, but more or less in the middle. You're not far away, just in the middle of your
And then when I'm using my driver,
the driver is
it
further forward
much,
towards the left
okay.
heel, yeah.
I hear so many.
But don't think about too many things. I mean
Okay.
you'll get a lot of advice, well-intended advice, but just,
yes.
you know, we'll keep it nice and simple, yeah. Yeah. Good shot, lovely shot.
So should I use my 7 again, do you think?
I would think so, if you're quite comfy with that, yeah. And you we're going uphill,
Yeah.
so the ball doesn't go as far when you're going uphill.
Yes.
But the 7-iron's a good favourite, and it is always a favourite. It's usually, the 7-iron's usually the club you'll start off playing with.
Yes.
The first club you have at your first golf lesson traditionally would be a 7-iron. So you will be comfortable with that one.
Yeah.
And it's the one that you kind of default back to always.
It's my club I have the least falling out with.
So it's a funny thing, I've worked in the Northeast for an awful long time and played golf and met with individuals who work in the oil industry. But I know so little about the oil industry myself, and one of the things I hear an awful lot about at the moment is transitioning. So I don't know whether you could explain a wee bit about what transitioning is and where it works, where you are dealing with that in your role.
Well, absolutely, and I'm extremely proud of the world that I work in and what this part of the world means in terms of energy, domestically and internationally.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this corner of the world, we're the very best, among the very, very best at producing energy responsibly, sustainably, and environmentally sensitively, and we safely power the lives of millions of people, and that's something that I think we're so used to doing in Aberdeen that we almost forget how special it is, and the centre of excellence we have, whether it's around energy production, subsea engineering, and even energy transition and new energy development. It's really special what we do here, and we're very, very good at it. And in terms of the energy transition, you know, we know that for the future of planet Earth, we need to reduce our reliance on hydrocarbons, but it's a nuanced and complex journey getting to a carbon-free future. But thankfully, the people that work in the UK's energy sector, and particularly this part of the world, are the best in the world at looking at these problems. It's a challenging time in our sector, but it's a massive opportunity for all of us that work in this world. I think the thing that's interesting for people to try and get their head around as well is when we talk about the energy transition, the energy sector and energy future. People in this part of the world often think of energy as oil and gas, because traditionally that's what it was. But we've got so many different energy sources, whether it's offshore wind, whether it's hydrogen, solar. There's so many different avenues that we're actively pursuing or we're already getting some of our energy from. So it's really important that we think of kind of the energy sector as one. And the critical role that oil and gas plays within that can't be understated, particularly in the next few decades. But it's all one, and we need to be utilising all the different facets to best effect to get us to net zero quicker.
No, you're absolutely spot on. Energy to me is oil and gas. As a complete layman, you know, that's it. But there's obviously so much more to it.
It's quite a complicated story, but that's why it's lucky that there are so many very clever people in this part of the world who are always very happy to explain these things and know a lot about it. Now, would you use a pitching wedge?
Pitching wedge I would go with here, It's a big green once you're up there, so there's lots of room. Oh, it's very good. Excellent. Excellent shot. Great, well done. Anytime your next club is a putter, you've done well.
Do you know, did you go to the Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce the evening with Colin Montgomery?
I didn't know.
And some of the other sportsmen.
No.
It was really good. And one of the things that Colin said that I always try and remember is the only shot in golf that matters is the next one.
Is the next one,
So I always try and remember that.
That's right.
It's ancient history, right? What we're doing now. Because it's such a mental game, isn't it?
It is. It's a game played between the ears, is what we often say. And you're right, the only shot that's important is the next one. And that's, you know, you can put that into life. I mean, it sounds always a bit cheesy, but playing golf's just life in miniature.
Absolutely,
There are so many things that you learn to do, and the way you think, the way you behave, your self-discipline. You have to be that way on the golf course, and if you're good at it in the golf course, then that transfers into your personal life as well. So it's amazing the
parallels.
Golf is life in miniature.
It is, and I think being the eternal optimist that I am, something I love with golf is the new chance you get every shot.
Yeah,
and that's like life as well, you know. There's
yeah.
just endless chances to try something different.
That's right.
New opportunities.
Yeah.
And luckily, golf has given me a lot of new opportunities.
No, golf's
more
fantastic.
shots.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a wonderful sport, and at any age, for youngsters growing up, they learn so much about themselves. But
absolutely.
at any age,
well, my 3 sons are getting into golf as well.
Yeah, excellent.
So they're 11, 9 and 5.
Yeah.
And they're dead keen.
Yeah,
they absolutely love it.
perfect.
Do you do kids classes?
We do kids classes as well, yeah. We do junior camps usually during the school holidays, Easter, summer and autumn holidays, as well as regular, kind of hourly, weekly classes during the season. So it's, yeah.
But it's a lovely thing to do with the kids.
Absolutely. I mean, it's lifelong friendships the kids make on the golf course, even at 6, 7, 8 year old. They're playing golf 50, 60, 70 years later with the same people. It's a fantastic. My dad's 93-year-old and still plays golf. And when you think about it, just, it is a game for life. You don't have to be an expert at it. You don't have to hit every shot perfectly. You just have to enjoy the game, enjoy being outdoors, enjoy the whole environment and the camaraderie. And again, it always sounds a bit corny, but that's what the game's all about.
And my mum, who I know you know from previous, it's been so good for her the last couple of years since my dad passed away. It's been so important for her to get out to the golf course. And it's something that she and I love doing together now. She always wanted me to take up golf, and it's taken me forever to actually do it.
To get around
but
to
now
it,
it's such a lovely thing that we do together.
That's
we do it together. I do it with my kids. It's just. And work as well.
It's an extended family. The golfers round about you, an extended family, and the golf club is your home from home, and that's the way it should be.
Walking your line.
Told you it was a great shot. Yeah.
Look at that.
Now then, giving myself a test up the hill here with a long putt.
Word.
Yeah. A little bit heavy-handed, but not too bad.
What can you tell me about this green that's going to help me?
About this green? Well, you're going to be on a slope. When you think about the slope that we walked up to get here, and looking here, we're kind of facing right into the slope. So the ball, it's always when you're looking at a green and to find out where the ball's going to go to, which direction it's going to go, you always look off the green.
Okay.
So if you look, obviously the high land is that side of the green, and then we're going down, to the seaside and that side. So overall, the whole green is going to be tilted in that way.
Okay.
So even although the putt itself may look flat or flattish, the whole terrain tells you that no, it's going to go down towards the water. And I turned round to look at the low point there and just caught that view. Isn't that just beautiful?
Just ace.
Even although I say it myself.
And so this is the Eithon estuary, isn't it?
This is the Eithon estuary, yeah.
And you get seals here, don't you?
The seals beach is just beyond the dunes there. Quite often you can hear the seals from this point.
Oh, really?
But you're seeing the back nine of the golf course and over the Eithon estuary there. So
it's absolutely brilliant. And then the National Decommissioning Centre is not far from here.
It's
over here somewhere?
Just down, I think, just the other side of the village, over the hill there,
So they do some great work there as well. So who knew Newborough was actually the centre of all sorts of things?
I know, it really is, just right on our doorstep.
And it's close to town as well. I think people don't realise how close Newborough is.
15 minutes, you're in the middle of Aberdeen from here, so you would never know.
I know. It's a different world. So, as you said to me,
I'll take the flag out for you.
The whole green. Now, this is something I wanted to ask you about. So people always seem to have an opinion about keeping the flag in or taking it out. What is that all about?
Well, you have the choice.
And what difference does it make? I've got no idea. I've always meant to ask. I've never asked them.
It's a personal taste.
Okay.
Some golfers feel they've got more chance of the ball going in the hole if the flag's there, so that the flag can catch the ball. If the ball hits the flag, rather than bouncing over, the flag would stop it, especially if it's going at pace, and the ball will go in. Others feel that if the flag is out, then the ball has got more chance of going in because the flag may deflect it. So it's purely, there's no proof either way.
Ah!
Just a little bit too hard, but
no.
you finished up directly behind the hole, so that was a good putt.
How does the speed of the green differ between a links course and
an inland course? Well,
Yeah.
it tends to be, the links greens would tend to be a little bit faster.
You see, I thought that. That's
Yeah.
why I'm blaming that. I'm not used
That's
to
the
links
only
course.
reason you've done that.
Correct.
Yeah?
Yes.
No, the links, it would tend to be finer grasses,
Okay.
and on white sand underneath, so and usually quite firm. Even at this time of year, the middle of winter, the greens are still quite firm. Whereas inland, they would tend to be a little bit softer, a little bit wetter. The grass is kept a little bit longer as well, so the ball would be a slower putt. It would be a slower pace. But from here again, we're very lucky in the links course to be playing almost mid-season conditions and mid-season speeds.
I'll stop interrupting you now.
Now I've got the excuse for missing the putt.
Yeah, exactly. Use it.
Oh,
Very
a
nice.
lucky one. And you
The
can.
harder you work, the luckier you get.
Exactly. You can follow me in there.
Okay. Am I going to be going a wee bitty up?
I think
Just
for that
slightly?
length of putt, I would always be aiming inside the hole. Don't go outside the hole at all. So just middle of the hole and roll it in. There you go. That's the way to do it. Knock it in.
There we go.
Well done. Then we'll remember to put the flag back in.
Yes.
So one of the phrases I hear an awful lot mentioned is net zero. And again, that doesn't mean an awful lot to me, but it's about the production of oil and gas, obviously. And is that something that we need to continue with? And when I hear different stories, should we be cutting back, or where exactly are we with that?
So it's such a good question, and it is a really complex subject.
Yeah.
And I guess in its simplest form, there's the pace at which we use energy, and then there's the pace that we produce energy. So there's lots of different energy sources, and even the most conservative estimates of how we're going to use hydrocarbon based energy, so oil and gas effectively, it outpaces the amount we're producing, no matter how we model it in this country. So what that means is right now we're importing a lot of the gas that we use every single day to power our lives.
Yeah.
And as we are going along towards 2050, that's going to continue. So we are still going to need gas, and we are not producing energy of alternative types, and we're not going to at the speed which is going to allow us to cut off using gas.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, and the great opportunity that we have, is the gas that we produce here in the UK is 4 times cleaner than the global average. So, the only country that arguably produces slightly cleaner gas is Norway. But again, we're talking about importing.
Yeah.
And we're not importing all our gas from Norway. We're importing our gas right now from Qatar, from the USA, from other countries. So the gas isn't as clean. It's helping other economies that aren't our own.
Yeah.
And it's offshoring jobs when we could be creating and maintaining jobs here whilst doing a better job for the environment, and helping develop these new energies faster, because the industry that produces the gas is funding a lot of the development that's going into producing new energies and getting us to net zero faster. So it's so important that we don't give up on domestic gas production, and also the role of the UK's own gas that we produce here in energy security is so important. We need to store more gas and bolster our energy security. It's just really important for all of us.
Yeah, very complicated, as you say.
It is, but we have the answers here. We just need to continue to work with the government to make sure that we've got a supportive, pragmatic tax regime that allows us to do the right thing for the economy, the right thing for the environment, and the right thing for all of the amazing people that work in this sector, because we want to keep them here. What we have in this part of the world as a sector is something that we can be incredibly proud of, and we must not lose that, because it's so key to unlocking the energy transition for future generations.
So do you find the government is helpful at the moment, or?
We're really encouraged by the dialogue that we have as a sector with the government. There's a lot of work still to do in terms of making sure that we've got the right policies to drive the future of our sector and make sure that we do the best job by the environment as we do so. So, there's a lot of great organisations that are working very hard, not least OE UK, to represent our sector and ensure that the right conversations are happening in the right places, either Holyrood, Westminster, wherever it may be, to look after this sector that we're so proud of and that does a great job.
Yeah. Well, we're now approaching the next hole, which is the complete opposite, having been uphill for the last one. We're now going downhill, so a little bit of a
hopefully the golf isn't going to go downhill. Yeah.
There we are. So your role, Kirstie, is global business development.
Yes.
And PDI's role, where does PDI fit into the equation at the moment?
So PDI, we're an engineering and project management consultancy, and we've been on the go for 22 years in Aberdeen. But we've delivered projects all over the world. But Aberdeen and the North Sea is very much home for us. It's a really important region for us. But we are looking at international expansion in a pretty big way, and we're making some decisions at the moment which are going to be exciting for the team and see us expand into various different regions. In terms of what we do and what we specialise in, we're very well known for our subsea engineering expertise and specifically subsea decommissioning. But we also provide topside engineering services now, and we're very involved in a number of really key gas development projects in the UK, which is really exciting. So it's a great mixture of work we do. It's ultimately all engineering and project management and execution consultancy work, but right at the front end of gas developments, as well as all the way through to decommissioning, our team are supporting our operator clients and our major service provider clients to execute some of the most challenging and interesting projects anywhere in the world in the energy sector. So we're really proud of the role that we play and what we do to support the industry.
Yeah, excellent, Right, so we ready to give this hole a go?
We will. Oh my gosh, Robbie, where are we going?
A little bit different. So we're downhill. We are right through the gap there. You can see the flag. If you can just see the flag, there's our red flag. It's
oh my word. Over here?
Down there. Yeah,
okay.
There we are. So bunkers on the right, lots of room down the middle of the fairway.
I think I'm wanting to go right a wee bit and stay out of danger.
There's more room right again there, yeah, certainly. Oh, great shot, well done.
I'm happy with that.
Absolutely, so you should be. Run, rabbit, run, all the way down the middle of the fairway.
I'm happy with that, look at it. Woohoo!
Told you it was an easy game.
So how far has my one gone, distance-wise?
About 350 yards maybe. You're 200 yards down the middle of the fairway.
That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I have been averaging about 110 yards lately.
Okay.
I went through a very dark stage of averaging about 60 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm really liking this downhill links experience.
If only every hole was downhill,
But I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good speed, good shot. So Kirstie, you mentioned the engineering consultancy business here for PDI. Is that onshore, offshore?
Oh, that's such a good question. And the offshore element of what we do is a really key differentiator at PDI. So more often than not, engineering consultancy businesses, the engineers spend the majority of their time onshore. But at PDI, we spend a huge amount of time offshore. So we develop the engineering and the design work at the front end of a project. But then our engineers, our discipline engineers and our project engineers, they then often go offshore with the jobs. So last year we spent about 1,700 days offshore as a team. And that really, really changes the flavour of our engineering. Our engineering is highly practical, very pragmatic, and always with execution in mind. So our engineers don't get caught up in the trap of engineering in a broom-covered type environment, which can happen when you work in a consultancy. And you can be the most smart and qualified group of engineers in the world, but it's so important that you have the end in mind in terms of how you're going to execute the job. So our team are exceptional in that regard, and a lot of that is because of the amount of time we spend offshore and on our clients' assets.
So you're obviously passionate about the business and passionate about your role as well. Tell me, is it a good business, a good industry for young girls and ladies to get into at the moment?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, there's some great initiatives at the moment, including Shell's Girls in Energy. And the other day I was very lucky to be asked to go and speak to a wonderful group of girls at Aberdeen Grammar about the opportunities that exist in energy, whether it's engineering, commercial, sales, whatever it might be, in the world of opportunities that exist. And I would strongly encourage young girls to consider a career in energy. It's been such a lovely journey that I've had. I did my work experience when I was 15 at BP at the old building in Dice, and I walked in there age 15 and I was just so captured by just the energy and the excitement and just the excellence of what was going on, and I've never looked back. You know, I'm so glad I had that experience, and anything that any of us that work in the energy sector can do to ensure that not just young girls, young boys and girls have these experiences that capture their imagination, and then potentially they can head off on a lifelong journey with the sector. And
they can end up playing golf in Newborough Links just like you're doing.
Exactly. So where are we?
Well, there's yours. There's yours right in the middle of the fairway. I'm not so sure where mine is, but
if you need any pointers, Robbie.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I'm always
I'll keep
available.
that in mind.
Yeah. Now, if you were me, would you use your 7-iron here?
I would stick with your favourite 7-iron. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So your line here, we can see the flag right through in the middle of the V shape there. What you don't see from here is a bunker just to the right hand side of the green. So from here, to try and avoid that bunker, just aim a little bit to the left.
Okay.
The ball will then roll down a little bit left to right towards the green.
You make it sound so easy.
I've got every confidence in you, Kirstie.
Wow. Oh dear.
A little bit heavy. That's okay though. You'll see the green from there.
This is not my best work.
Can I give you a little tip?
Yes, please.
Can I give you a little tip? We want to remember so many things. You said earlier that you've had so much advice from different people.
Yeah.
And there's so many things to try and change and try and think on and remember as you're swinging. But the only part of your body that's contacting the club is your hands. So we tend to forget sometimes the role and the important role that the hands play in the golf swing. So our hands control the club, and they control what the club face does during the golf swing. And one of the hardest parts in the swing is being able to hinge your wrists correctly on the backswing. As you take the club back, being able to hinge your wrist so that your wrist and your left thumb ends up underneath the shaft at the top of the backswing, supporting the club. Now, if you can hinge your wrist correctly, in what is a very natural movement for youngsters, you give a club to a 5-year-old and they'll do that naturally without even thinking about it. If you can hinge your wrist correctly, that gives the club head, or gives you the control over the club head and speed of the club head as well. That'll give you a wee bit more distance, a wee bit extra distance, a bit extra power without you putting any more effort into it. So just allowing your hands to, that's the way to do it. Let me just...
So where do I want to end up?
Just hinging it that way. You know, so you just get the hinge and your wrist is cupped there, and then as you come down, you allow your wrist to go the other way. You know, so you're allowing your hands to make just a little bit more of a movement, and it's a more natural movement there. Your hands are doing the work.
I make it look quite unnatural. Oh, okay.
That's the way. So just a little bit more of the hands and wrists.
So Robbie, is it just members that can play here?
No, absolutely not. Open doors, members, non-members can play. In fact, we welcome visiting golfers from all over. Whether it's local players this time of year in the winter time. We're very fortunate in the links course that the course is playable all winter. Some of the members and golfers who play on inland courses are not quite so fortunate. The courses can be very wet and they can be closed sometimes. So no, we welcome golfers from all over.
It seems really friendly. When I came into the clubhouse today, everybody smiled and said hello as I walked by. So it seems like a really good vibe. And then I guess for people starting out, and we spoke earlier about how sometimes women seem to find it difficult to make the first move towards going to the golf course. So we spoke earlier about the group lessons and you do one-to-ones. And then, if groups, ladies or otherwise, want to come and play, they don't have to be members. They can just ring up and book in.
Exactly that. I encourage all the group tuition that I do. All the ladies then form a WhatsApp group,
Okay.
And there's nothing pleases me more than seeing the messages back and forth at the end of it, arranging games of golf.
Yeah.
You know, which is fantastic. That's what it's all about. And again, we're fortunate here. We have a separate 6-hole facility, a 6-hole shorter course. Which is ideal for golfers, you know, starting from scratch. You know, there's no one watching, there's no one staring out the clubhouse watching every move you're making, and it's somewhere you can learn to play golf. Learning golf is always two kind of separate stages almost. You learn how to hit the ball first of all, and then you learn how to play golf. And learning to play golf and playing golf on a golf course is what everybody's trying to do, and that's what everybody aspires to. And that's what we try and encourage all the golfers to do. You know, the ladies, and they get into golf groups, they get to a stage where we can, you know, where they're able and confident enough to go onto the golf course themselves and get full enjoyment out of the game. So
fantastic.
That's what we're aiming for.
Now, I need to see what I'm going to aim for with this next shot.
Okay, well, I think you're that side of the fairway, I'm this side of the fairway, so
Do we need to say
I'll
farewell?
I'll climb up here and see.
There?
Oh, that's my ball there, yeah. But before you play this shot, give yourself a pat on the back. The bunkers you were trying to avoid are now behind you.
Yay!
We've passed them successfully.
So I'm not
it's
going
all
backwards.
Good. You're not going backwards, no.
So my flag's
So
there.
we can see the flag, so
and
again,
there's no danger over
remember
there.
just the bunker on the right hand side, so you would just want to err to the left a little bit. There you go.
I didn't make great contact.
Not the best. That's you thinking about your new swing there. Yeah. You've just hit a terrible shot 10 feet from the hole, so I'll take that shot.
I think we'll stick with that, Robbie. I think we'll take
absolutely, Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell you, I'm not playing terribly today.
You're doing well.
This is much better.
You're doing well.
I think I'm going to have to come back to Newborough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to be playing quite well here.
No, there's lots of worse places you could work at and spend your time at. And you know, you mentioned earlier on about, you know, the work that you do on the golf course, how easy it is to do business and talk about business on the golf course. But once that's all over, coming out and being able to relax on the golf course just frees the mind again.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, it just brings everything into perspective, and you can go out, whether you're out yourself, whether you're out with family, out with kids. It's a great place to be in a summer's evening on the golf course, listening to the birds singing. I've been lucky, I've spent my whole life doing this, and I've got the cheek to call it work. So I'm very fortunate.
But it's so important to love what you do, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
I'm such a believer that whatever your work is, there's got to be a good chunk of every day when you're doing something you feel really good about, and you know is contributing something important and is bringing you joy. And I definitely find that with my work. And having 3 little boys at home that I need to provide for, you know, I need to go out and work and provide for them. But it makes me feel so good that I leave them to go and do something that I feel so passionate about, positive about. And the fact that golf is part of my day more regularly and part of my evening. It's just a hugely positive part of my work and personal life.
And it's something you can share with the boys as well.
Absolutely.
For many, many years ahead.
And it feels like it's going to be something that we can do together, and it will grow up with them.
That's
Because
right.
it's hard, you know, as your kids get older and you think, you know, what are we all going to be able to enjoy together? And golf is something that my 5-year-old is loving, and my 11-and-a-half-year-old, even when he's getting more interested in technology and phones and stuff, he still loves golf. So it's so universal. Now, what do we need to know? This looks like an interesting green, Robbie.
It falls away an awful lot down to that side. That's the low side down to the right again. But you're playing across the slope a little bit and uphill slightly. So it's going to go a little bit from left to right, but only a little bit, I think.
So I want to aim slightly to the left.
Slightly to the left, yeah. But it's all about getting the pace right.
And this is quite quick, this green, isn't it?
It's fairly quick. It's fairly quick. I would aim maybe about 6 or 7 inches left of the hole, as far left as that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Good putt. A little bit more, you were in the middle.
Wasn't bad.
Now, see if you can do what I couldn't do.
Oh.
Left edge and roll it in.
Okay.
Oh, very close. On you
How
go. Pop it in.
frustrating. I didn't even swear.
Yeah.
That was quite good, wasn't it?
Well done, well done.
Okay.
Excellent, well done.
Well,
that was good. That
we've
was
done
good
well,
fun.
haven't
That was
we?
good fun. Thank you very much, Kirstie. That
It's
was
been great.
Yeah, good golf, good chat,
Yes.
good fun on a good day on a good golf course.